Chapter 84, Ape Beast Soul. Finally, Dollar and Luo Qianyang's codes were displayed on the martial steel. Each digit in Han Sen's code was an 8, so everyone knew that was him. Luo Tianyang went on the stage first. From his leisurely look, it seems that he was confident about the upcoming match, which made Su Xiaoqiao quite nervous. Where is Dollar? The match is about to begin, but we don't see him yet. If he is not here in 3 minutes, he will automatically be considered the losing side. The stands were filled with people eager to see Dollar's match, but the familiar golden figure was missing. Su Xiaoqiao became even more tense. Lu Hongtao smiled unkindly. Su Xiaoqiao, it seems that you are in a bad place. If Dollar doesn't show up at all, you wouldn't be convinced even if I won the bet, right? What is this nonsense? It is still very early, and the boss always comes late. Don't you understand that? Su Xiaoqiao retorted, but felt unsure as Dollar didn't show up. He thought, could Dollar be delayed by something? Then my mutant nocturnal wolf would be gone. Great, I'll see how long you could keep that thought, Lu Hongtao ridiculed. Suddenly, the guy in cape sitting next to Su Xiaoqiao, who had been silent the whole time, suddenly stood up and walked toward the stage, leaving Su Xiaoqiao and others dumbfounded. The guy took off the cape while walking, revealing the golden armor underneath, leading to an uproar in the stands. Dollar! Dollar! Ha, the angel came! I know there's no way he would miss this. Su Xiaoqiao was so happy that he jumped up. My God, Dollar, you are truly amazing. Kick Luo's ass for my sake, please. And remember, keep it under a minute, 1 minute. Su Xiaoqiao was now certain that Dollar has heard the dialogue about the bet, that was to say Dollar knew he should defeat Luo within a minute, which was undoubtedly good news for Su. Other Bullseye members were also very excited. Dollar was just sitting here and we failed to recognize him. Indeed, we should have asked for his autograph. I hear you could sell that for a good price now. Xiaoqiao, you didn't say what you said because you knew it was him, did you? Su Xiaoqiao laughed. God helps those who help themselves. How could I know it was Dollar? He wrapped himself like a rice dumpling on such a hot day, and I was just wondering about that myself. Lu Hongtao's face was grim. He sneered and said, don't be happy now. Even if he wants to help you, it is impossible to defeat Luo in a minute. Nothing is impossible with Dollar. As long as he wants to do it, it will be done. Su Xiaoqiao immediately retorted, with all his faith in Dollar. Although Yang Monli was surprised that Dollar was sitting beside them, she was not as optimistic as Su Xiaoqiao. Rationally speaking, what Lu Hongtao said made sense. Luo Tianyang might not be Dollar's match, but he had Son of Heaven behind him, so he must have plenty of beast souls on him. Despite that Luo's fitness wasn't the best in Son of Heaven's gang, his fitness index should still be over 10. With strong beast souls, it would be difficult to beat him. If Dollar is an archer with advanced beast soul bow and arrows, he might be able to get rid of Luo fast. Unfortunately, it seems that he never uses arrows. Yang Monli sighed inwardly. Son of Heaven shot a harsh stare at Han Sen and eyed Luo Tianyang on the stage. Luo nodded knowingly. Son of Heaven had prepared well for this match. Knowing Luo wouldn't be Dollar's match, he didn't count on Luo to defeat Dollar. Still, he lent Luo his sacred blood ape beast soul and many powerful mutant beast souls. All he wanted to see was Dollar injured. Even if Dollar could not be injured, he must show his real skills in this match. Son of Heaven saw Dollar as a fierce rival, which was why he was using Luo as a pawn to weaken Dollar before he ran into Dollar himself and to find out how strong Dollar was. Luo Tianyang was both cunning and ruthless. He didn't take Dollar lightly and summoned the ape beast soul and a mutant suit of armor as soon as the steel lit up and the match started. Suddenly, standing on stage was a giant age more than 9 feet tall in a suit of bone armor with a long mace in its hands. The look alone was terrifying. A wisp of a smile crossed Son of Heaven's face. That was why he liked Luo. Luo's ability was less than impressive in his gang, but Luo had always been careful and decisive. Son of Heaven had always believed that one must know one's limits, which Luo did. Being meek towards the brutal and brutal towards the meek might be viewed as a bad thing. But the way Son of Heaven saw it, it was also a wise attitude. Luo Qianyang's decision now was much to Son of Heaven's satisfaction, playing it safe and trying to survive. Of course, Luo Qianyang's life was not very important to him. But if Luo died, the ape beast's soul would be ruined as well. So, Luo must not die. That's it. Just do whatever you can and try to force Dollar to show all he got. If anything went wrong, just go off the stage and throw in the towel. Son of Heaven looked at the two on the stage and thought with a smile, Dollar, let me see what you've got. Lu Hongtao was amused by what Luo Tianyang did. I told you Son of Heaven would definitely give the ape beast soul to Luo. You see? With that mutant bone armor, it would take Dollar at least an hour to beat Luo. What are you talking about? Can someone like Luo Tianyang even shapeshift for an hour? Su Xiaoqiao disagreed. His heart did freeze a little as he didn't think Luo would really have the ape beast soul on him. Anyway, it would be easy for him to last 10 minutes, which means I could win 10 times, so it's a pity that you don't have 10 mutant beast souls, Lu Hongtao laughed. Chapter 85, Sekil. But soon, Lu Hongtao's smile disappeared. The moment the martial steel lit up, Dollar summoned the bloody slayer and ran toward the ape called Luo like a hurricane, a golden spear in his hand. In the blink of an eye, Dollar was in Luo's face, his spear stabbing Luo's stomach. Luo Tianyang roared and hacked his mace madly at the mutant sawfish spear, making the spear fly out of Han Sen's hand. Lu Hongtao was ready to applaud, but then he saw that Dollar calmly reached for a golden katana at his waist and slashed it toward Luo Tianyang, who was only inches away. The ape did possess great strength, but it was also clumsy. When fighting from afar, this disadvantage wouldn't show. But at such a short distance, there was no time for the ape to dodge. Crack! The 9-foot-tall ape was cut in half. Luo only gave a whimper before he turned into his own body and died. Blood flowed like a river. Everyone was blankly watching Han Sen, who put the katana back into its sheath and took back the spear calmly. Dollar killed Luo, who had shapeshifted into a sacred blood creature, in less than 10 seconds. After the moment of silence, cheers broke out like a tsunami. Everyone was calling Dollar's name, bringing the whole martial hall to a boil. Su Xiaoqiao was the happiest person among all. Twerking on the stands, he shouted, "Dollar, Dollar, I love you, like a mouse loves rice." Lu Hongtao was dumbfounded. He sat there like a deflated balloon, not accepting the fact that Luo had died. Red-hoofed beast. My red-hoofed beast, how could this be? Lu Hongtao almost spat out blood. Son of Heaven gritted his teeth very hard. He didn't care that Luo was killed. But his ape beast soul was one of the few sacred blood beast souls he had. It, along with all the mutant beast souls, was ruined with the death of Luo. Son of Heaven's heart was bleeding. Dollar, I'll make you regret you were born, Son of Heaven cursed inwardly. He very badly wanted to kill Dollar, but felt somewhat helpless about it. Before, there had been a chance to besiege Dollar with his gang. Now that Dollar had wings, that plan would no longer work. Now Son of Heaven regretted very much that he had used his one-use sacred blood wasp arrow. If he still had it, he would be able to kill Dollar, even if Dollar could fly. He thought more about it and realized that if he had never used that arrow, Dollar wouldn't have the bloody slayer beast soul. Without that shape-shifting beast soul, Dollar couldn't have killed Luo so easily. Thinking of this, Son of Heaven wanted to eat Dollar alive. There was something stuck in his chest which he could neither swallow nor spit out. I must find out who Dollar is. If I couldn't kill him in God's sanctuary, I will kill him in the Alliance. Son of Heaven was determined to have Dollar killed, or he could never let this go. His loss was indeed huge. Luo was dead, and he had lost many beast souls, including a sacred blood one, while Dollar walked free. Han Sen did not dare to get stuck in the crowd and simply flew away with his wings, not giving the audience any chance to approach him. Dollar killing Luo Tianyang was the headline in Steel Armor Shelter. People had posted the story on the Skynet, but without a way to record images in God's sanctuary, words alone didn't attract much attention. In addition, Luo Tianyang was a nobody, so no one cared. After all, this was only the martial arts contest within Steel Armor Shelter. If Dollar became the champion of Steel Armor Shelter and entered the contest among champions from all the shelters, then his match could be seen by the entire First God Sanctuary. If he became the chosen, it would truly be something amazing throughout the entire alliance. But people in Steel Armor Shelter were clearly scared of Dollar. His opponents in the next few rounds all quit before they fought and simply didn't show up. Killing someone in seconds was a brutal thing to do. And that someone had even shape-shifted into a sacred blood beast soul. No one had the courage to put their life on the line. Some people even accused Dollar of being a murderer and posted articles describing how cruel he was. Su Xiaoqiao and other Bullseye members were pissed off by those articles and wrote about the bet between Su and Lu, leading to compliments from Dollar's fans. But it had not changed the fact that Dollar had killed someone. Later, someone posted anonymously that Luo Tianyang had mutilated and raped many victims using Son of Heaven's gang when he was alive. Many people from Steel Armor Shelter echoed the post and said it was a great thing that Dollar had done. Luo Tianyang was an animal. If I were Dollar, I would have killed him long before the martial arts contest. Well done. 32 likes. An animal who deserved it. Ignorant, all of you. Murder is murder, regardless of who was killed. Dollar is a murderer. Dollar is a piece of #T. Don't comment on something you don't understand. Everyone in Steel Armor Shelter knows it was justice well served. Exactly. I hate those who follow the herd. There was quite a debate on the Skynet, but then the posts criticizing Dollar became overwhelming, and many posts that supported Dollar got deleted. People in Steel Armor Shelter knew that Son of Heaven was behind it. However, no one had the nerve to antagonize Son of Heaven. After all, there weren't many who dared to be the enemy of Starry Group. No one was willing to do that for a stranger anyway. Chapter 86, Special Training. Sen, check out my new mount. Su Xiaoqiao was riding his newly gained mutant red-hoofed beast in the yard of the Bullseye team, bragging. The mutant red-hoofed beast looked somewhat like an antelope with a pair of buffalo horns on its head. It had the size of a camel and was satin black all over, except for its 4 blood-red hooves. Han Sen was very depressed to see this gorgeous mount. He wasted so much effort in helping this brat win a mutant mount, while he himself ended up with nothing. Although he did have a mutant mount beast soul, it was aquatic and was useless on the land. After the martial arts contest, I have to find a way to gain a beast soul mount. It was too much trouble going everywhere on foot and it was bad for my image as well, Han Sen thought to himself. Dark Swamp was out of the question. Even if he gained a mount beast soul there, it would be something ugly like a toad. Han Sen, come to my office. Yang Monli called from the 2nd floor. Sen, you offended her again? Su Xiaoqiao ran over and asked, grinning. Why would I do that? Han Sen said, touching his nose. That was not a kind look she had. You have to be careful, Su Xiaoqiao laughed. You know about looks? Why don't you say you are psychic as well? Han Sen laughed and went to the 2nd floor. Monli, you asked for me? Han Sen asked. I do not know what Qin Xian saw in you. But since she asked me to help you prepare for the entrance exam, I'll do my best. Starting from today, you will report to me at the teleport station every day and I will train you, hard. You better be prepared as you will suffer. Blackhawk isn't just any school. Yang Monli paused and said casually, if you cannot bear it, you better ask Qin Xian to allow you to quit. I will not stop you. When do I start? Han Sen asked. Now, said Yang Monli before she got up and teleported to planet Roka with Han Sen. Yang Monli took Han Sen to the test hall at the teleport station, which was a military standard test hall that provided more accurate tests. You will do a detailed test first and let me see what's the difference between your fitness level and the lowest standard for Blackhawk, Yang Monli said with no expression. No need for that. I think I could definitely pass that bar. Han Sen did not dare to do the test, afraid he might scare Yang with his data. The last time he took the test, he had approached 10 in all his numbers. Having gained lots of mutant and sacred geno points after that, his fitness index should be well beyond 10 now. Do the test. Yang Monli commanded coldly. If you insist. Han Sen muttered and slowly walked toward the entrance of the test hall. Han Sen had made up his mind not to use his full strength, in case Yang could tell something was wrong. Fortunately, Han Sen was very confident in his control of his own body. The more he practiced Jade Skin, the more he was amazed by this hyper-geno art. He hadn't practiced it for long, but he already felt that he could adjust each bone and each muscle in his body. With Jade Skin, he could even change his heart rate, blood pressure, and body temperature to a certain extent. The more he understood Jade Skin, the more scared he felt. Fortunately, Shui Longyan had already been seriously injured when they met, or else it would have been Han Sen who got killed. It was precisely because of this that Han Sen wouldn't let anyone know that he was practicing Jade Skin, for fear that people might know Shui Longyan was killed by him. The test items here were similar to those in the test center, but were more sophisticated in general. Hence Han Sen knew what each item was for. Soon, Han Sen completed all the test items and came out of the test hall covered with sweat. Yang Monli had no idea that Han Sen looked so tired mainly because he was trying to control the test result. To control one's reflexes and heartbeat was extremely difficult in such sophisticated test items. If Han Sen hadn't practiced Jade Skin, he wouldn't have been able to hide his real physical condition at all. Yang Monli looked through Han Sen's test results and said, less than 10 in all items, but close. 10 is just the standard of ordinary military schools. For Blackhawk, even for specially recruited students, 10 was just a narrow pass. After reading something on a smart machine, she said, during the time we have left, which is little more than a month, I will make all your fitness index past 10. Meanwhile, I will train you in archery. Only with proper archery skills will you be specially recruited. Monli, may I ask, without special enrollment, what kind of score is Blackhawk looking for? Han Sen asked curiously. When you are able to beat me, you could be admitted to Blackhawk on your own. Yang Monli went to the gym, not even glancing at Han Sen. Han Sen followed her to the gym and looked at all sorts of training equipment in the gym curiously. Many of the equipment he had never seen before. Many soldiers were training in the gym. The teleport station was part of the military, so everything here followed military standard. The only difference was that most soldiers here were new to the army and had never been to the battlefield. Those who could be assigned here typically had certain connections, or else they would have been sent to the front. Chapter 87, Cheating. Yang Monli led Han Sen in front of a sealed device the size of a train compartment. The device was around 150 feet long. She turned it on and entered some data before she took off her jacket, revealing a black professional training suit underneath. The suit was made of a material unknown to Han Sen, which had a form-fitting effect. Han Sen noticed that Yang Monli had a great body. Her legs were especially long and straight, seducing one to touch them. Look carefully. I will only show you once. For today, you need to finish this training every day before you go anywhere else. Yang Monli said and went into the device. The moment Yang Monli entered the device, all soldiers who were exercising came around and drooled over the holographic image displayed. Yang's body is getting more and more perfect. I could play with those legs for 3 years. 3 years? I can play with them for 30 years. check out her ass." These animals stared at the holographic image almost with their eyeballs popped out. Inside the device, young Monli had started. There are many exercise items in the device and she finished them one by one effortlessly. The items didn't look very difficult either. "Brother, what is this device? Looks like it is not that difficult." Han-sen asked a soldier curiously. "Not difficult? Kiddo, you are too naive. Yang seems effortless because she's got great fitness index. If you were to do it, you would be too tired to finish 3 items. This is called gravity trainer. There are such devices on all interstellar aircrafts and warships and they are used to adjust the internal gravity. With the parameters set by Yang, one would need at least 10 in fitness index to train. Or else walking in the device alone would be a torture, even worse than screwing 7 times in one night. Son, all you could do is pray." These soldiers knew Han's senator. They were all aware that Qin Xian had often called him into the combat room. Yang Monli stepped out of the gravity trainer in a little while, and the soldiers quickly scattered back to do their training as if nothing had happened. Yang Monli had some sweat on her forehead. She put on her jacket and said, "Now you complete the exercise and then come to find me." She left with no intention of watching Han Sen do the exercise. Yang Monli knew very well that Han Sen's physical fitness index was only close to 10 and it was impossible for him to finish such intense training. She just wanted to humble him so that he would follow her orders better. A soldier ran toward Han Sen when the latter was about to enter the gravity trainer to start training. Putting his hand over Han Sen's shoulder, the soldier smiled and said, "Buddy, if you can bring us some R-rated holographic resources when you come here in the future, I'll let you in on a secret and make the gravity trainer a piece of cake for you." "Deal." "What's the secret?" Han Sen agreed, knowing he was asking for porns. "Great." The soldier patted Han Sen's shoulder and whispered to his ear, "Once the parameters were set up, Yang could tell if you have modified them after. However, the device has a protective mechanism, which is designed mainly to prevent dangers to your body. My method allows you to change the parameters through this mechanism so that the result doesn't show the modification. So, you can easily complete the test without being found out by Yang." "Fantastic. What should I do?" Han Sen asked. "I can tell you the secret, but a deal is a deal. You need to get me those R-rated holographic resources or you will regret it," said the soldier. "Brother, rest assured. I'll get you those," Han Sen patted his own chest and guaranteed. The soldier nodded with satisfaction and told Han Sen the method to change the parameters. He repeatedly told Han Sen to bring him the porns and designated a few actresses. Parameters set up, please confirm. Han Sen went into the gravity trainer and heard the AI. "Okay," Han Sen replied. "Confirmation completed. Start testing in 10 seconds. Countdown starts. 10, 9, 8. When the countdown was over, Han Sen felt his body sank, as if he had suddenly gained a few hundred pounds. Han Sen did not use the soldier's method. He wanted to see if he could finish the exercise like Yang Monli did. Han Sen was not used to the added gravity and warmed up a little before he started. When Yang Monli was back from her office, it was already in the afternoon. She thought Han Sen should be worn out like a dead dog by now and would probably be more obedient in the future. When Yang Monli returned to the gym, she was surprised to see Han Sen chatting with the soldiers there. The soldiers were even showing him how to play with all sorts of devices. He looked rather lively and not tired at all. "Han Sen, I asked you to train." "What are you doing?" Annoyed, Yang Monli asked coldly. The soldiers were scared away like mice met a cat, leaving Han Sen standing there alone in front of Yang Monli. "Captain, I've completed the training." Han Sen saluted the way the soldiers had just taught him. "Completed?" Yang Monli frowned and walked quickly toward the gravity trainer. She pulled out the data and as she checked each item, her face became darker and darker. There was no doubt that Yang Monli did not think the data was real. Only those who with more than 12 in fitness index could achieve this. She had just tested Han Sen's fitness and he wasn't even a 10. So, this could not be his real performance. Chapter 88, Perseverance Matters. Who told you about the protection mechanism? Yang Manli stared at Han Sen madly. Of course, she knew about this trick. What protection mechanism? I do not understand what you are talking about. Han Sen looked innocent. You won't tell? Go get a 7.0 practice bow and some arrows. Yang Manli calmed down and said coldly. Han Sen did not know what she wanted to do, and did what she asked. You know the standard stance to draw the string? Yang Manli looked at Han Sen and asked. Yes. Han Sen nodded. Very good, pull the string to the fullest on standard stance, Yang Manli said quietly. Han Sen had worked hard on archery so his stance was perfect and he easily pulled the string to the fullest. Good stance. Han Sen was surprised to hear Yang Manli's compliment. Thank you, Captain. Still, Han Sen knew he was in trouble. Hold this position until midnight. If you move during this period and I do not get the answer I want, you do not need to show up here again. Even if the station master came here herself, one of us must go. Yang Manli turned to leave. Seeing Yang going away, the soldiers ran back and the one who told Han Sen about the protection mechanism felt guilty and said, Sorry buddy, I did not expect Yang to be on to you. I did you harm instead of good. It's just a few hours. I'll be fine. Han Sen said casually. Do not underestimate the standard stance. 20 minutes was all right, but 2 hours is just torture. A 7.0 bow is not a joke, usually we can't even last 2 hours with a 6.0 bow. It's 4 hours until midnight. Yang is really brutal this time. I say let's go apologize. Just tell her we all told him about the loophole. Or else he would probably not be able to use his arms ever again. If we have to. Judging from her look, we would suffer as well. The soldiers complained and sighed. No need. I'll give it a shot. My endurance has always been good. For hours, I think there should be no problem. Han Sen called the soldiers who were going to apologize back. It doesn't matter how good your endurance is. It's torture. Han Sen smiled, I've seen worse. Don't go yet. If I can't do it, you could go then. Maybe by then Yang Manli will see how miserable I am and lessen the punishment. That is also true. Buddy, you hang in there first. Let us know when it gets bad. We will go and confess. The soldiers were loyal. Han Sen nodded and did not speak. Remaining motionless was sometimes even worse than violent movement, especially when he was also drawing a 7.0 bow. In the beginning he didn't feel much, but after half an hour, his arm muscles began to feel numb, and with the passage of time, this numb feeling was more and more intense. In just an hour, Han Sen was sweating like rain, his arms burning and whole body trembling. Han Sen gritted his teeth and started to practice jade skin. A spring-like coolness flowed through all his veins, where the numb feeling was gradually relieved. Through the monitor, Yang Manli would glance at Han Sen from time to time. She saw him keeping the stance but started to tremble when it was approaching an hour. His endurance was already beyond her expectation. Even the soldiers can only last this long. Yang Manli predicted he could last about at most 1.5 hours, certainly less than 2 hours. Cheating in your first training session. I have to put you through hell. Yang Manli did not really want a name from Han Senator. His silence was a quality she could appreciate, and if he had confessed about the person who had told him, she would have looked down on him. After working for a while, Yang Manli checked on him again when it was an hour and a half, and found he was still standing there. Yang Manli could not help but frown, as Han Sen looked better now than half an hour ago. He had stopped trembling and was sweating less. In general, he looked more relaxed. He moved. Yang Monli was not sure and played the footage backward, noticing Han Sen had not moved in the last 30 minutes. Odd. Yang Monli did not go back to work, but paid full attention to Han Sen's image. Han Sen had been standing for 2 hours. Buddy, you're awesome. Can you keep going? Your endurance is out of this world. If you are this good in every aspect, you could definitely go to the Alliance Central Military Academy. Brother, you a real man. A soldier gave him a thumbs up. Let us know if you can't keep going. Don't risk hurting your own body. It's not worth it. Keeping his body motionless, Han Sen smiled and said, I feel okay. I can definitely hold until midnight. No need to check on me. Brother, if you can really hold until midnight, you will be under my protection in the future. Your protection? Do you dare to fight Yang or Qin Xian? Ahem, I was just saying. Do not be so serious. The soldiers took a shower and went to the cafeteria, leaving Han Sen alone in the gym. He was practicing jade skin secretly and felt its power welling from every body cell, eliminating his fatigue. When Han Sen had insisted for 3 hours, even Yang Monli was shocked. She even doubted if the soldiers had hacked the monitor and all she saw was a loop. Soon she ruled out that possibility and left the office for the gym.